Your baby is sitting on the floor, stacking cups and knocking them over. Again. You're half watching from the couch, folding laundry, saying something to no one in particular. There it goes. Boom, you knocked it over again. You're not trying to teach anything. You're not running a lesson. You're there, present, talking to a baby who may or may not be listening. You don't know it yet, but what happened in your child's brain in those 90 seconds will still matter when she's sitting down for her first exam. Most parents think raising a smart child takes special toys, special programs, the right school at the right age, and the parenting industry has done everything it can to keep you believing that. But it isn't true. The biggest neuroscience discoveries of the last decade point to the same thing over and over. The most powerful brain-building tools your child will ever have are already in your home, already in your hands. In this video, 10 specific activities, backed by real research, that build your child's brain from the inside out. By the end, you will never look at an ordinary Tuesday with your baby the same way. 1. Serve and return conversations. You make a sound, your baby babbles back. You respond, she responds again. It looks like nothing. Two people making noise at each other in a kitchen, neither of them making much sense. Most parents treat this as entertainment, a fun little exchange, something to fill the space while dinner cooks. But this is the core architecture of your child's developing brain being built in real time. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child found that these back-and-forth exchanges, what researchers call serve and return, directly shape the neural circuits governing language, reasoning, and emotional regulation. Each response you give physically strengthens synaptic connections your child will draw on for the rest of her life. Every time you answer your baby's babble, you are not playing, you are building. 2. Narrating your day out loud. You're in the kitchen. You say, "Now we're adding the pasta. The water is really hot, so we stay back." Nobody asked. Your baby is in the bouncer, staring at the ceiling fan. It feels mildly absurd, talking to a person who cannot respond in sentences. Most parents stop narrating because it feels performative, like talking to yourself. Here's what the science actually shows. Patricia Kuhl at the University of Washington found that when parents were coached to use parentese, that slower, higher-pitched, grammatically complete speech directed at their babies, their children were significantly more verbal by 14 months than children of uncoached parents. The baby's brain is not ignoring you. It is recording everything. The monologue you feel self-conscious about is building vocabulary she'll use in first grade. 3. Reading aloud, starting before she can understand a word. You open the board book, she grabs it, chews it, flips it upside down. You read it to the back of her head, basically. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Most parents wait until their child can actually understand before making daily reading a real commitment. That seems logical. The research dismantles this entirely. Betty Hart and Todd Risley's landmark study tracked children from 7 months through age 3 and found that by the time they started school, children from homes rich in verbal and reading exposure had heard 30 million more words than children from quiet homes, and that gap directly predicted academic performance years later. Reading to your baby is not preparation for learning, it is learning. 4. Singing. Especially the songs you make up. You sing the same 4 songs on rotation. You substitute words when you forget the real ones. Your voice is imperfect. You know it. You sing anyway. Most parents feel self-conscious about this and assume a professional recording does the job better. The research tells a different story entirely. A 2022 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that when parents sing directly to their infants, babies synchronize their eye contact to the musical beat, a sign of active neural entrainment, meaning the baby's brain is literally locking onto your voice and organizing around it. Live parental singing activates auditory and social brain networks simultaneously in ways recorded music cannot replicate. Your off-key lullaby is doing something no playlist ever could. Skin-to-skin touch and baby massage. You rub her back during tummy time. You trace her fingers. You press her feet gently between your palms. It's quiet, unhurried. It looks like affection, not development. Most parents think of touch as comfort, something you do when the baby cries, not as a cognitive investment. What the research reveals goes much deeper than comfort. A 2024 scoping review on infant massage found that regular touch in babies under 9 months accelerates EEG brain activity maturation, meaning the electrical signals in your baby's brain are developing faster, and increases blood levels of IGF-1, a growth factor directly tied to brain maturation. The thalamosensory cortex, the region governing how your child processes the entire world through her senses, grows stronger with deliberate, gentle touch. Every time you hold her, trace her fingers, or press your palms to her back, you are growing her brain. Love, it turns out, is a neurological event. She already knows you're there. What she's learning right now is how the world feels when someone stays. 6. Stepping back during free play. She's been reaching for the same toy for 10 minutes. It's not working the way she wants it to. You know exactly how to fix it. You say nothing. You wait. It's uncomfortable. Most parents read stepping back as disengagement, like you're failing if you're not helping. But the opposite is true. A longitudinal study of 2,213 Australian children found that time spent in unstructured, child-led play between ages 2 and 5 directly predicted self-regulation skills 2 years later, independent of parenting style, income, or temperament. When your child solves the problem herself, her prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, patience, and decision-making, strengthens in ways no guided activity can replicate. The hardest thing for a parent to do is nothing. It is also sometimes the most powerful investment you can make. Time outside, every single day. You're at the park. She's not on the swings. She's crouched over a crack in the pavement studying an ant with the concentration of a scientist. You check your phone twice. She doesn't look up once. Most parents measure outdoor time by physical activity. If they're not running, they're not getting anything from it. A 2024 systematic review found that children under 3 who have regular time in natural outdoor environments show a 20% increase in cognitive development compared to children who play primarily indoors, with improvements specifically in concentration, creativity, and problem solving. The natural environment provides unpredictability, texture, scale, and complexity that no indoor space can replicate. The ant your daughter is studying is more educational than anything sold in a box. Puzzles, even the ones she can't solve yet. She picks up the piece, tries the wrong hole, tries again, gets frustrated, tries again. You are sitting on your hands. Most parents intervene here. Faster is easier. Less crying is better. There's always tomorrow. This is the moment everything is built. A landmark longitudinal study tracking children from age 2 through age 4.5 found that puzzle play frequency during those years directly predicted performance on spatial reasoning tasks at 4.5 years, independent of vocabulary, parental education, and income. The children who struggled longest at age 2 outperformed the children who were guided through. Let her fail. Let her try again. That sequence, struggle, persist, solve, is not a byproduct of learning. It is the curriculum. 9. Putting the screen down, even when it's hard. She starts reaching for your phone. You hand it to her. 20 minutes pass. You were grateful for the quiet. That's understandable. Most parents know screen time is worth watching, but assume the real consequences, if any, are manageable. A 2025 long-term study, the first to track brain changes from infancy all the way through the teenage years, found that children with more than 1 hour of screen time daily before age 2 showed measurably less white matter development in regions governing language, literacy, and decision-making. Those differences were still visible at age 13. White matter is the tissue that connects different parts of the brain and allows them to communicate. It is the infrastructure of intelligence. The thing you hand her without thinking is the one activity on this list that actually costs her something. Number 10. Telling stories. Together, at bedtime, when you have nothing left. It's late. You're exhausted. She asks for a story, not a book, a story, one you invent. You come up with something small, a rabbit who got lost, a cloud who couldn't rain. She starts adding details. What if the rabbit had a red hat? You say yes. She says, and a blue one for his friend. You keep going. Most parents treat storytelling as a luxury, something for evenings when you have energy to spare. But this is the most powerful cognitive activity on this entire list. Research on collaborative storytelling found that it activates the prefrontal cortex, the seat of planning, moral reasoning, and creative problem-solving, more deeply than any other verbal activity, and predicts later literacy and mathematical ability with striking consistency. When your child adds to the story, she is practicing narrative structure, cause and effect, character perspective, and abstract thinking at the same time. When you say, and then what happened, to your tired 2-year-old at 8 p.m., you are building the mind she will use to understand the world. 10 things. A babble answered, a monologue no one asked for, a book read to the back of her head, a song no one else will ever hear, a hand on her back in the quiet, the patience to watch her struggle, an hour outside with the ants, a puzzle left unsolved on purpose, a screen set down, a story invented together when you had nothing left. None of them look like genius building. All of them are. There is a story we tell about intelligence, that it is something children either have or they don't, something that arrives fully formed or not at all, something you find out about eventually when the tests come back. The science says something different. The brain your child will use to read, to reason, to create, to love, it's being shaped right now, not in a classroom, not with a curriculum, in your presence, in your voice, in the moments you stay close enough for your child to feel it. You don't have to be a perfect parent to raise a brilliant child. You have to be a present one. If this video changed the way you see an ordinary day with your baby, share it with another parent who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Better Mommy, because next, we're looking at something most parents say a dozen times a day without realizing it. The one phrase that teaches your child, slowly and reliably, that she isn't enough. That one is worth staying for.